You're listening to Conflict Radio on the Conflict Radio Network. Greetings and welcome to Conflict Radio. Today is September 29th, 2020, and today we're going to be talking about Starseeds with Aurena Agathe Fohler. She says on her webpage about me, I am a multidimensional being with high psychic abilities. Allow me to be your personal guide, soul whisperer, communicating with your soul. We are working together on all levels, body, mind, and soul. I am feeling what you are feeling, and I am working with all of my senses. Within few minutes are the issues located. Allow me the opportunity to empower yourself to love yourself again, to remind you who you really are with all of your potential. Until you are ready to take your path on your own, you would need to dedicate 2 consultations of 30 minutes or 60 minutes with me, and you will feel an immediate change. So, we're going to talk to a starseed today to find out what is a starseed and how are they looking at the world. So this promises to be a pretty interesting show. Let's just get right to it. We'll be right back right after this. Well, welcome back to Conflict Radio. We're with Aurena Agathe Fohler. How are you today?
Hi, Michael. I'm really good. Thank you.
Well, I'm really curious to have you on today. You're a starseed, correct?
Yes, I'm a starseed.
Now, can you explain to us what a starseed is? Like, where are you from, and what? I really don't have any idea what a starseed is. Could you tell us?
Yeah, sure. I would like to talk about myself a bit so people know and get a picture of like who I am.
Okay.
If that's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Arcena Agathe Fohler. Aurena means the queen of fairies, the one who covers you in love. So what's very special about me is I work from my heart chakra and I work with love. That's like the whole universe is made of love, and that's what's most important to us. Because no money in the world has value if love is missing. And my name is Agathe. My dad gave it to me. And Agathe means in Greece language, Agathos, the good, beautiful person. And Agathe has such a deep meaning. It's connected to inner earth, like Agartha. You have the stone agate, and you can find an agape. The meaning is like it goes like really far. And my dad gave that name to me because my dad and my mom, they're very special. Like my dad is born 1929. He was born in the Second World War in Czechoslovakia, but he's German. We call it Sudeten German. And he can't hear, but he could speak 6 languages. And he was like hundreds years ahead of time. Like the way we live now, he was living that time already and no one understood. And my mom is Sri Lankan. She can't hear and speak, and so we speak sign language. And I remember when I was little, it's like, how do you know you're a starseed? Like, I'm born 1980, and that time no one did meditation, no one did yoga, no one did know anything about those things. Maybe the hippies in California, but it was like almost 99% that people didn't know about all those things, what we talk about now. So when I was little and I had an argument with my parents, and believe me, yes, we can have arguments even though they can't hear and speak. I just started crying and I would say, hey, you don't love me. And I just felt they're not my parents. And I would say to them, you're not my parents. I felt like I'm adopted. I didn't feel they're my parents. They didn't understand who I am. They didn't understand who I am. And they didn't, they just didn't get me. And I felt totally lonely. And then what I would do is like, I grew up in a village. So I just in the night, I was not allowed to go out, but I would just open the door secretly. Mm-hmm. And I would sit outside on the road and just watching the stars. And even though I didn't know the names, like the constellations, like Orion and Sagittarius and the big bear and the small bear and Venus, I didn't know the names, but I looked at them and I could see the constellations. And I just felt so home. And I never knew why. It just was like I had this very big, affiliation. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a big connection to the stars, and it just made me feel good. And wherever I would travel, I felt home looking at the stars. But the crazy part is when even looking at the moon, um, from Germany, I went the first time to India, and then I looked at the moon, and it was just upside down, and I was shocked. And I was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" So you being a starseed when you do stargazing, and you feel like your parents are not your parents, and you maybe have a lot of dreams or visions and a lot of knowledge which no one taught you. Like when I was little, I did yoga, and I would draw the swastika, and the swastika is a symbol of luck. And how would I know all those things? No one taught me that. And I did yoga, and I didn't even know what yoga is. So you will have a lot of talents and gifts and knowledge without anyone telling you. You will remember your past lives. You will do lots of stargazing, and you will feel like you don't belong to your own family. So that's very typical.
Yeah. So if you're remembering your past lives, and are those Earth lives or past lives from another planet?
Both. I have past lives when I remember um, like being here on Earth, like in Greece, in Atlantis and Lemuria, being a priestess, working with flowers and herbs. I remember me being in Egypt, being a dancer and a priestess. I remember so many past lives on Earth, also being involved in rituals, because what is typical for starseeds, there are some which are just reincarnated like new. They have very big issues with coping with their body and the balance and, just getting to know a lot of things. But there are a lot of old, the term starseed is actually new, but it doesn't mean we are just here recently. We are here for hundreds and millions and billions of years. Like, um, what happened is in the past, and 2020 is a big shift. It's like we coming back into our own power, and power means not controlling someone, not being supreme to others. The power of starseeds is working together, and you being a starseed means you're having light in you, you have love in you, and the moment you remember who you are and you recognize yourself and you just be your true self, that's when you help to activate others, to bring back the light and the love in others, especially self-love. And we're creating a huge soul tribe, a community which on Earth we are connecting through light, through love, through telepathy. And we create a crystal grid on Earth. And that's how we raise and bring the new Earth to Earth. So there are past lives which I have, just coming back to past lives, which I have in other galaxies and stars. Mm-hmm. Like I did remember of wars, but I would never say, oh, one race is bad and the other race is good. Never ever, because I did see there were wars, but the race who would attack or try to defend themselves, they always do it for a reason. There is never a really bad. No one is really bad. Some have forgotten that they are also come from love and light, and we have to help them to remember that there are love and light.
So when you say wars, do you mean wars between planets?
Yes. Very typical for the like if you're from Orion starseed is very much connected to the Egyptian culture, like Osiris and Sirius. It's about the male and female balance, but the starseeds from Orion have a tendency to have a stronger male energy. They're also connected to the Celtic culture, the Gothic culture. And you see they're dark, but they are not dark because sometimes in the darkness is more light. So the Orion starseed, they had a big war, and to reincarnate on a different planet, they had to leave that planet. So there's, and they have a lot of feelings of being lost and feeling homeless. That's like very typical for Orion starseeds.
So the Orion starseeds, their homeworld has been destroyed?
It looked like that's what I heard, and when I saw it in my vision, that's what it was. But I know if a country or a planet or star gets destroyed, it doesn't mean it's totally gone. It just lives on a different level, and in a different realm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, how many different planets are starseeds from?
Wow. Okay. I think there are so many more, but I can tell you the ones I know, which would be Sirius, Andromeda, Cassiopeia, Pleiades, um, Orion, Tau Ceti. Um, there's one called Lyra. Um, yeah, Alpha Draconian. About the Alpha Draconian, I would really like to say something. People on Earth say, oh, the Alpha Draconians are so bad. To be honest, they are not. I know many Alpha Draconians. They're one of the race. They're trying to bring balance to their karma they created. They used to maybe bad, but they are not bad. They're ones of the ones who actually have lots of love, and they're coming back and being reincarnated because they want to bring the balance back to Earth. The Alpha Draconians are one of the race which, yes, they work with leaders because they are not allowed to show their emotions, but if you help them and if you understand them and send them love, they're amazing, beautiful beings. They are not allowed to embrace their love, which they have so much of them, and they're just bringing back the balance. So the Alpha Draconians, which are reincarnated now, they're beautiful beings. So please never ever judge anyone, never ever be cruel and rude to anyone, because we all come from a place of love, and none of us is perfect. And the truth is that we are love, we bring back love, and that we create love always.
Okay. So, so the starseed souls are different from souls that are original from Earth, or are they kind of the same? Like, are all souls the same, but some are originated here? Or I'm trying to. What's the difference
Mm-hmm.
between a starseed soul and an Earth soul?
Yeah, okay, that's a really tricky question. I'm trying to answer that, okay?
Okay.
Now, in the end of the day, we are all starseeds, okay? We all come from different planets. Like, when you look at the Mexican culture, I'm just here in Mexico, in Tulum, which there are lots of pyramids around me. I was in Hawaii for months on almost all the islands. And when you go to different other very old origin, like ancient how do you say, civilizations, the Pleiades used to plant a lot of seeds. There's a saying in all cultures all over the world that the Pleiades used to bring the humans to Earth. So there are souls which are here for a very long time and they're more earthly, but in the end of the day, we are all star beings. It's just we all have different frequencies. Right now, the starseeds which are incarnating are coming with a really high mission. The mission is we are incarnated like the Arcturians. Oh, I forgot to mention them. I have a Facebook group, the Arcturians, and our mission is like when you just Google Edgar Casey, Dolores Cannon, they were talking about the Arcturians. The Arcturians are very known for using telepathy, for having a blue color skin. Look at the Hindu culture, like Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva, they all had a blue color and they're mostly Arcturians.
Mm-hmm.
There are also a lot of blue, we call them blue rays, and they're also twin flames, like um, Rama and Sita, uh, um, Lakshmi and Vishnu, they're like, it's all a lot about twin flames. And they're very much connected to the Lemurian culture. So the Arcturians are incarnated master. That means they incarnate and they're being their own masters, and they have a lot of knowledge spreading here on Earth for humanity, for the people who have forgotten who they are. So we bring a lot of new technology to Earth. So what do you think the governments, where they get all their technologies from? It's not from them. It comes from a lot of extraterrestrial beings, or they're having telepathy communication with other extraterrestrial beings, or they're tapping into their Akashic records and getting the old knowledge and wisdom back, which was from the old Atlantean culture or Lemurian culture or Mu. There's so many other cultures.
Yeah.
Yes.
You mentioned Atlantean culture. Do you have any recollection as to where Atlantis was?
Yes, very much. And about the star seeds, just to finish that, we have star seeds which they come from inner Earth. We have star seeds which are here on the surface, and we have star seeds incarnating from different planetaries and star systems.
Yeah,
So
I definitely want to talk about the inner Earth ones in just a little bit.
yeah, sure. So the Atlanteans, they're different frequencies. We have the Atlantean culture is definitely between America and South America and between Africa and Europe. Like when you go to the Azoren, Greece, Portugal, Africa, like Lagos, that area, the Canarian Islands, and here Tulum, Brazil, it's like you have a lot of old Atlantean energy, a lot. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
Okay.
And there's a saying that they had the last war here in Tulum between the Lemurian and Atlantean culture, and also in Maui. In Maui, there's still, it's called in Valley, Ayu Valley, which is supposed to be for women, and the women used to hide there to deliver the children. And they had one of the last wars, which was with the Alpha Draconians and the dragons, which was also connected to inner Earth. So the Atlantean culture is, just imagine, over millions of years, right? So we have it in the etheric realm, we have it on the earthly realm, and then of course an inner Earth realm, like in the underwater realm. So when people say, "Oh, I'm from Atlantis," then it's absolutely, you can ask them, "Hey, which Atlantis?" It's not just one.
Oh, I see. Well,
Yeah,
I didn't hear. I've never heard that before. That's interesting. So,
yeah.
so the inner Earth beings, would they be the reptilians as well, or just the dragonians, like you're saying?
Oh no, inner Earth, they're beautiful. They're just a race of so many. They come from, like, the old priestess and priestesses. They would go to inner Earth, and the inner Earth is the central sun. We have a central sun in us, the solar plexus, the central sun in inner Earth, and the central sun in our galaxy. But there are so many different galaxies with different central suns. And the central sun is helping us actually big time with the solar flashes and Schumann frequencies. You can Google it, to actually update and activate our DNA. So we're actually getting big major activation. So the inner Earth, we call it Shambhala, Tolos, we call it Agartha. It's like they're beautiful beings, and there are all kinds of races. It's not just one.
Oh, okay. So
I mean,
how many different races do you think there are in the inner Earth?
I believe the same as we have in our galaxies. It's just that they live in inner Earth because some of them, they had to flee when we had the flood, when they were attacked. I mean, so many draconians, which I know, like the Mexican people, there are so many draconians. In Sri Lanka, we have many. There are a lot of beautiful people, but they had to hide, and they love to live in the canal and the cave system. So some of them, they had to hide. I mean, look at the African culture. There was a lot of slavery, right? And they had to flee, and now you can find them all over the world. Look at the gypsies in India, like the you call them the Sintis. They're all over the world, you know?
Yeah. So, I was watching one of your videos where you were talking about implants
Yeah,
as a form of mind control. Could you tell us about those?
yeah, sure. Okay, I want to say there's always duality, and it's up to us that we bring the balance in. You can have a tornado, and in the eye of the tornado, you have peace. You can be in the tornado, and it will be like a roller coaster ride. And you can be around the tornado, which either you get sucked into the roller coaster ride, or you just stay that far away that you're all safe, right? So it's always a choice. Now, when you have implants, there are different kinds of implants. You have the ones which etheric, like energetic. You can't see them, but they're there in your aura or in your body. You can have an implant which looks like a rice corn, which is real, and you can grab it. And you can have implants which you planted yourself, or someone planted them to protect you. Now, in the old Lemurian and Atlantis time, we had to hide our knowledge when we had invasion and we had the big fall. So one of the people who, like the people who had lots of knowledge, they put themselves implants to block them not to release the knowledge. And now they can remove the implant when they are actually finishing and healing their karma. Karma is never only bad, there's also good karma. Mm-hmm. But karma means you have to learn a lesson. Once you have learned to learn the lesson, because when you remove the implant, you get your power back. And with power comes responsibilities. And especially when you have lots of knowledge and wisdom, you need to know how to handle it. You know, there are people, they always want to be psychic and say, oh, I want to open my third eye. But never ever a person asks when they open their third eye, are they actually ready for it? It's not funny. If you see passed away people, if you see people being honest or lying, do you want to see all that? Do you want to see the real truth? Are you ready for it? It can cause trauma. So when you remove the implant, it will either go by itself. And if you have like the positive one, it will go by itself when you're ready. Okay. And it will bring a lot of knowledge back. And if you have a negative implant, that can only be active if you are fear-based. Like now they talk about coronavirus, this and that. You get sick when you are leaking love and when you are in a low vibration. So you get an implant, like there's abduction. When the different races, there's abduction because they want to connect with love. And we are humans or starseeds, we have so much love in us. Like we make sex to create a different being, but connected to love. So some of the star races, they're doing abduction and they do put implants because they want to actually just understand. And it's like a kind of tiny satellite when we put it on whales and different sea beings to see where they are. They like to track their location. So they're doing some studies on us. They think, okay, sex is automatically love, but it's not. So they just want to understand how we deal with our emotions. How come we have love? How do we, do all those things? They just want to understand what's going on. So those implants actually not bad. It's just that, okay, they're there. Okay. But the negative ones, they are there and they're blocking you. They create pain in your body because they help you. In the end of the day, they help you to look into your body, into your soul and your mind. Why are you scared? Why don't you trust yourself? Why don't you trust the universe? Why do you feel you're not protected? So when you have an implant, it's there because there's either something fear-based and it just helps you to remove the fear and to step more into the power of trusting.
Okay. So are all starseeds good then, or are there some bad ones?
I don't believe in bad starseeds. As I said, I just believe that everyone comes from one source and we have to help each other to remember that we're all from this one source.
But there is some evil in the world, right?
Yes, true. And you have the chance and the choice to tap into the frequency of love or negativity. If you meet a lot of really bad people, you have the power to transform. You can tell them who they are. I have been all over the world. I have met the biggest mafia people. They have always treated me like a princess, like a queen, because that's how I treat them. But I saw that they could kill other people. The question is that when someone is bad, there's always something called karma. Is it something they're bringing balance to the karma they had with that person in a different life? There's something called soul contract. You always have to look deeper. You can't just blame someone and say, oh, they're bad. Why are they bad to you and good to someone else? There's something called a soul contract. Look into that.
So can you tell us what a soul contract is?
Yes, a soul contract is like, go to YouTube. There's something called The Little Soul by Neil Donald Walsh. It's a beautiful story. It's like, just imagine you and me, we are on like in the etheric realm. It's like we just had a life and we died and we're just in that realm, and then we are both talking to each other and we're coming from the same soul tribe. And I tell you, I say, hey, Michael, I just want to go to Earth and I want to know how it feels to be killed by someone. But I don't know anyone who would do that to me. So I want to really have this experience. And you would say, oh my gosh, Agatha, this is like a quite a challenge. Why do you want to experience that? I'm like, I want to know how it feels. So in my next life, I can help people, who got killed and are traumatized. And I would ask, I would say, Michael, please help me to have this experience. And then you would say, oh my gosh, Agatha, I love you so much. I will do this for you. But what about if we reincarnate on Earth and I don't remember who you are and I just kill you and you don't remember who I am? Will you hate me? And I will say, you know what? I know that our love is so big. I might forget who we are, but my soul will remember. And then we just incarnate on Earth and we both have forgotten who we are. And then all of a sudden there's an incident. You're looking for food and I'll come and I shout at you and you just kill me because you're trying to survive. But I had the experience to be killed, right?
Yeah.
So there's a soul contract between our souls, which is much higher than our brain can actually grab. And you did me this favor. I had an experience and you learned from it too. Okay? That's like in a very small nutshell.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's talk about portals and stargates for a second. You believe in them, that they exist?
Totally, yes. Yes.
Now, do we create them ourselves, or are there certain places where they are?
Okay, that's again, we have different realms. We are walking portals for sure. It's like, just imagine, we are water, we are minerals, we are made of love, we are walking portals. We can shift into different realms, levels, just when you, like, okay, now you can be grounded, like thinking about how you feel, feeling your body. But the moment you're thinking of me, what I do in the country where I am in Mexico, that's already, you're already you're going through a portal because you're not here with me and you're not with you. It's like your soul is already here with me. And then we have portals, like the dragon beings. They are the ones who can travel through portals, like inner Earth, this realm, different galaxies, different dimensions. So the dragons, they're actually very amazing with portals. And then, yes, we have wormholes and we have different technology. Like I spoke to Frank the other day, they made the movie Packing to Mars with Tonya. And he was saying Nikola Tesla was one of the people, they had technologies like doing time travel and going through wormholes. There's a lot of out there, yes, definitely. And you can even use portals to go from, we have Untersberg in Austria, and they have time phenomena there, and they have portals going from the surface to inner Earth.
So how long do you think before the human race understands what's going on, what reality really is?
As Dolores Cannon said, I never actually read her book, and I just hear from people that she has the same theory as I believe in. It's like 2020. 2020 is the balance. It's like two. It's duality, and we're bringing it into balance, male and female energy. So, can you please repeat that question?
Yeah. If all this is going on the Earth today, with the inner Earth and the portals and aliens and spaceships,
yes.
and all of this is going on, how long before the human beings wake up to all this that's going on?
Yeah. So now it's like we have duality. It's now we have the chance to either move on, right, to do the jump, and we can jump into 5D, and some people will choose to stay in 5G. So it's a choice you make. It's like when you're in a class and we're both in the first grade, and it's like you do your homework, like you do your karmic lesson, and you learn and you heal and you open up for other possibilities, you will move on. If I don't do my homework and I'm lazy and I'm not moving my bum, it's like I always say, get up off your ass, like get up and do something. If you don't want to do the work and you expect others to do it and you just blame them, and I have that belief, I have to repeat my class. And you might be sad to leave me behind, but I'm never lost. You will just be ahead of time and you will just go through all the classes till you stand on your own feet. And I will just come along and I come later, I'm not lost. So if you decide to be in 5D right now, to go with the shift, and I decide to be in 5G, I will just come later.
Okay, so it's kind of up to us.
Yes. So there will be a part of humanity which just understand what's going on, and the other ones who don't, because never forget with healing comes change. Not everyone is ready to change, and not everyone is ready to heal. Because when you heal, you get more wisdom and knowledge, and then you have to step up in your own power, and not everyone wants to do that. I mean, there are people, they like to be sick because they get more attention,
Yeah.
We call them energy vampires because they just suck energy from others because they don't want to be responsible for anything they do. It doesn't mean they're bad, but it just shows it's wrong. It's not okay. And then they just stay in 5G, it's okay.
So are there beings that feed on the negative energy?
Yes, definitely. Because those are the ones who don't have love and light, and those are the ones who have forgotten that they come from love and light, and to survive they have to just go and be entities and suck energies. But many entities and demons, they're just misused by black magic, by the people who do dark magic. They misuse the demons and entities. Yes.
So how do you achieve a starseed activation and an initiative?
Yeah, I would like to explain, if it's okay, what is the difference between activation and initiation.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. An activation is very different from an initiation. When you do Reiki, and I don't recommend any initiations for any starseeds, because as I mentioned, starseeds have a lot of knowledge and very high frequent energies and a lot of individual different psychic abilities. Now, if you do Reiki and you do an initiation, that means it's one technique put on everyone, which is the same technique for everyone. But that makes you not individual, okay? That means you're being a part of a tribe who does everyone is the same. Also in Reiki, it used to be very high frequent energy in the past, but the energy of Earth is rising, so we don't need it. It's very old, but it's a convert thing now, because people who pay a lot of money, I know people, they paid 5,000 euros, it's almost like $6,000, just to get a master initiation. Does it mean they're real masters? No. They got the knowledge, but it doesn't mean they know how to deal with that knowledge,
Yeah.
True mastery is coming always from the heart, and it comes from inside, never from another master, never. So people in Reiki, they abuse the energy when they pay money because they have it. It doesn't mean they have the knowledge. The energy of Reiki is you being a human with your own issues, and you get an initiation, and then you initiate someone else. Your energy will go to that person. Okay, so those are the disadvantages of Reiki, but I'm a Reiki Grandmaster, I used to be one. It's a big opening up, it's great, but if you want to improve your skills, I don't recommend it. Now, the initiation it's individual, it's a lot of healing, removing of implants, healing of trauma. It comes always in nature, and it comes from the deep inside of you. An initiation brings all the soul parts back into your body, into your being, which is knowledge, wisdom, psychic abilities, and it can be very different from all the other people who get activation. Oh, sorry, did I say initiation? Activation. An activation is when you incarnate on Earth. We have lower vibration on Earth. The moment you go through different levels of vibration, you have to split off those high frequent soul parts so that you can incarnate on Earth. And those soul parts, because now the energy of Earth is rising, when you do an activation, you bring in those soul parts, and that's your unique energy. It's you and no one else's. And that's the major big difference. And you can always increase your activation because there's so much to bring back to Earth.
All right.
And and you're your own master. There's no master above you. That's the major thing.
So it's all about frequency then. Are there beings here on the Earth now that we can't see because we're not on the same frequency?
Yes, a lot. The dragons, the fairies, the trolls, but the good, nice trolls, and yes, so many. I mean, yes, of course, the pastaways, but even they are not bad. It's like they just want to go home, so they stick to people that they feel they can help them. There's so much. Yes.
Have you ever seen any?
Yes, I do actually. I can see the pastaways, and I release a lot, like especially around Halloween. I create light bridges, and I just send them home. Like especially in Europe and Germany, we had so many from the Konzentrationslager. I don't know how to call it in English. The camps, there were so many.
So when you say you create a light bridge, what is that?
It's just about intention and visualization. It's like, first of all, when you have a passed away and they can't find home, and the reason is they're traumatized, they had an accident, they were not ready to go, or they had a very terrible death. So that means they don't even know that they're dead. So the first thing is always 3 times. You say, body, mind, and soul. You say, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. You don't have a body. Your body is cold. You're not alive. You say that always 3 times. And then they actually can realize what's going on, that they don't have a body, right? Mm-hmm. And then you tell them, please look out for because everyone has an angel, a guard, a guidance, spiritual guidance. Everyone has that. And then you tell them, please, you call out for their guidance and say, please come and help him to go home, or to help her to go home. And then you create a light bridge. So in the bridge, they can go to the etheric, like we call it astral realm. So they can go back home into the light.
Well, this is fascinating. So what's important for starseeds to know?
Okay, it's very, we have a lot of, I call it doping in the spiritual scene. There's a lot of ayahuasca stuff, DMT, LSD, weed stuff going on right now, and people just want to do the shortcut. It will never work. If you have 2 people in the Olympic Games, and one guy worked really hard and did his work, and the other guy is just doping, and both have the chance to win, whom would you support to win? The question was, whom would you support to win? Like, if both people have the same chance to win, but one is doing doping and the other one worked really hard, which one would you support?
Well, the one that's doing the work, right?
Exactly. So if you have psychic abilities because you're doing ayahuasca, and ayahuasca means it's a near-death experience. You're actually crossing the border. There's a movie called Coma or something. They are crossing the border to death, and then they're being haunted by spiritual entities. And that's not a joke, it's reality. When you smoke weed, people say, yes, it helps a lot. But what it does is you're suppressing your anger, you're suppressing your emotions, you're trying to control yourself because you're not allowing yourself to be angry. When you smoke weed, you're opening up yourself a lot. Your soul is moving out of your body, because that's what soul does when the pain is too much to carry and to hold, like you can't take the pain anymore. The soul leaves the body. And if you want to heal, the soul needs to be in the body. So when you smoke weed, you do ayahuasca, you do DMT and all those artificial things, your energy chakras are open up, your soul is leaving your body. That's when you connect with the etheric realms, and you feel like home and you feel good. But your psychic abilities are only working when you take those things. That means you're creating a codependency to those substances. And you're suffering when you don't have them, because you're just falling back to earth into your body, and then it's like your body is paining. Because for your body, it's big time pain and traumatizing. So all I want to say for the starseeds is, do the work, do the shadow work, do the healing, do the trauma releasing, because when you do the healing in nature, just, work with people who are healers, who are work from their heart with love and who are clean and pure. Go into nature. Do things which make you happy. And you will get the biggest success ever, because you're helping to release all the trauma, not just for you and your body. You will help in the collective, and you will help for your ancestral lineage. It's a major breakthrough.
Yeah, so pretty much stay away from the DMT and the LSD and the ayahuasca, right?
Yes, because people say, oh, DMT is natural. So if it's natural, why do you have to take it from outside? And DMT, I mean, if you release it while dreaming, do something on the daytime. Go to nature, go for swim, do dance. Music is the biggest amazing drug ever. You can dance and have a psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
I mean, do something, jump from 1 meter into the water. It's like you get a kick, and do it safe, I mean, don't cross your safety border, but do something which oversteps your boundaries, and do something which excites you in your life. Life is amazing. Travel, see the world, be with people who may uplift you. We are just psychedelics ourselves. We don't need them from outside.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about multidimensional beings, could there also be different dimensions of Earth where we're kind of the same person but are living different lives?
Yes. Yes, we have different timelines. Like sometimes I see myself being in a different timeline. Multidimensional means actually you have all the psychic abilities, like hearing, smelling, tasting, seeing, inside with your third eye and outside. That is like multidimensional. Interdimensional means you can jump between different interdimensional galaxies, systems, this life, other lives, timeline.
Yeah. So is there a timeline where everybody's kind of the frequency is different, where everybody sees everything that's going on?
Yes, and that's, I call it the 5D. Yes, definitely, yes.
5D, you said?
Yeah, I just call it 5D instead of 5G. In 5G, people are being controlled. They don't know what's going on, and they're just being biorobots. But in 5D, that's what I call it. People are just in harmony and just, in the heart frequency.
Yeah. So, how long?
It's a lot of information, right?
Yeah, it really is. It really is a lot, and I'm curious. We see on the news a lot how they're talking more and more about UFOs and disclosure and things. Do you think that there's a time coming here pretty soon where, we're gonna turn on the news one day and see an alien ship landing in New York or something?
I'm 100% sure, because the media can't hide it anymore. And when I was in Hawaii like 4 months ago, it was actually in the media. It's just because of the coronavirus thing, people didn't put attention to it. That's the crazy part, And do you remember those old movies when all of a sudden an old man stands in front of you and he scares you and he says, there are UFOs, I was abducted, and everyone say, oh, look at this crazy person. But actually it's the truth, and no one believed him. And now if someone would come, they would say, hey, we have to help him. It's like, it's true. We know it's true.
Yeah. I do want to go back to the inner earth for a little bit, and you talk about how there's the sun down there. You're talking about like the center of the earth, and even so the inner earth world is just as round as we are out here, right? They're just kind of like living on the inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the gravity works, whereas they pull towards the outside of the planet, and we're pulling in.
Do you remember the book by Jules Verne or something? He wrote the book about inner earth, the travel to inner. You should read that book. He just knew about it. In Hitler's time, there was one pilot, I forgot his name. You find it on YouTube, and he flew with his plane on the pole, I don't know, North or South Pole. He flew into inner earth, and he saw everything. He saw the dinosaurs, he saw different tropical forests and jungle, and he wrote about it. There's actually a lot of knowledge about inner Earth, and they describe it. There are even drawings on inner Earth. And when you go to YouTube and you when you Google it, and you write North Pole and South Pole, zoom in, you will see, it's actually crazy, you will see they covered with white color, they covered the poles, the holes, you can see that actually when you zoom in. It's like you can't see it, like there used to be holes and they just covered it with some white painting, so you can't see there's a hole.
Yeah, now, why would they hide that from us?
I know that the Vatican is on that side and they're doing a lot of hanky-panky stuff. So those people wouldn't like us to know, because if we would know about those things, we would try to connect with them and we would step more on our freedom and free will and in our power. And there's some energies and religions and tribes, I don't call them tribes, communities, which they wouldn't want us to be in our own power, so because then they can't control us, right? Because they are disconnected from love and light, and then they need our energy. I mean, I just want to tap into for like maybe 30 seconds into the child trafficking. They always say, oh, the Alpha Draconians, but who are actually the ones who actually do the child trafficking? It's the parents, and the parents are human. The question is, why would the parents do that? Because they're disconnected from their own true self, right? Mm-hmm. And they're just being trapped into being controlled because they don't want to do their work. They just want to stay lazy and they don't look into what's going on in the world. They just want to make easy money because they're ego-driven. So we have to go deeper. We can't just blame everyone for it, Why are you being controlled? Because you're letting it happen. Sometimes it's easier to be controlled and someone makes the decision for you. Sometimes it's easier to be controlled because you're full of fear and you don't want to be brave. And yes, children are the most purest love and light. And they're full of emotions. They're free. They're not controlled yet. So what is the biggest energy resource ever? It's a child. And that's why we need to support children to stand up in their own truth and just be who they are, not to put them into society rules and regulations.
So when you're talking, I'm sorry, I want to stick on this for a second. When you talk about child trafficking, it's the humans that are selling the kids to the Dragonians, you're saying?
Actually, okay, now I have to go a little deeper. Now let's say, okay, there was a big case, right? That's like the negative side, but it's important to talk about it. Now, the Vatican, the Catholic, and even the Buddhist, even the Hindu culture, those priests, they would abuse children, right? Now, they do that, and they're humans, they're not aliens. They do that because they got abused. But the moment, like the Illuminatis, there's certain people, they do that because they haven't learned to get their own energy, that the energy is like comes from inside of you. So they do that to the children, first of all, because they experience the same and they don't know it any better. They think it's right. For them, it's not a bad thing. Like here in the Mayan culture, they used to kill and sacrifice priests and priestesses and children because they thought it's necessary to appease the gods, to bring the balance and to protect everyone. Mm-hmm. It's a lack of knowledge. It's just call them dumb if you want. If I want to be mean, I just call them dumb. They don't know any better. It doesn't mean it's wrong to them. It's wrong to us because we are more evolved. And it's for them to get energy. It's just their battery. But if we teach them that they can connect with their own love and then they have an unlimited free energy resource, they would not do that. And most of the times, like look at Thailand, we still have that, It's like in Thailand, women, I mean, that's the truth. It's a fact. I'm not saying something which is unknown, do your research. I always tell people, do your research, use your brain. In Thailand, women work a lot and they do a lot of sex work. Like they get into marriages because a man is rich and the man is happy Maybe he's overweight and he's ugly and he doesn't get a woman. He just goes to Thailand and he gets married to a Thai girl and he has some money. She's happy in a way, like because she gets the money, she has a good life and she can support the family. And he's happy that he has a woman on his side. But does it mean it's true love? I don't think so. Can they be truly happy? I don't think so. And women in Thailand, they do that because they don't see any other opportunity. They don't know the knowledge and wisdom of, the secret of the law. They don't know those things. So it's for them, it's very normal. It's not right, but it's normal for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've been hearing stories about, I guess, the inner Earth or reptilians or whatever down in tunnels, underneath the Earth that have kids in cages and things like that. Is that what you mean when you talk about child trafficking?
No, child trafficking starts for me like when I say a woman gets married to a man just for money.
Okay.
It starts when the parents tell a child to behave a certain way. They're not allowed to cry when they feel like crying. That's already child trafficking for me, because those are all the sources when they get energy. It's when you try to please another person and you say, okay, you know what? It starts with yourself. You're trafficking yourself. It's just, it starts small and it makes a major impact.
So do you think that there's a point that we're going to reach here pretty soon where the good will overcome the bad?
Always. Love is powerful. It's not a shortcut. Sometimes it takes time. There's a saying in Germany, die Mühlen mahlen langsam, aber sie mahlen. That means the mill is grinding slow, but it grinds and it's very smooth. And that's what it is, Good quality it's not always necessary fast, but it goes smooth and correct and it will all blossom in the end. It's not, you can't do doping every time you suffer in the end. You do it properly, do it the right way, and you will prosper.
So how does religion fall into all of this? Like when we talk about Jesus or Moses or God, or how does that all come into play? Do you think that Jesus was a real person?
Yes, definitely. But we call them also ascended masters, right? They were like way supreme and ahead of time, and they were incarnating from different stars. And we had the priests and priestesses from Atlantis and Lemuria. And those people had magic abilities. Those were actually, I call them aliens. We have Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness means it's not religion-based. It means I call it the new earthmen, which have psychic abilities, which are very much connected with their heart, which see a woman equal, which love their children and they raise their children the same way a woman would do. That's the Christ consciousness. It's knowledge, it's wisdom from inside. And being guided by Mother Earth and Father Heaven, okay? Being in alignment with nature. And those people just had the wisdom and knowledge. And religion took those knowledge and wisdom over, because when you go to the Egyptian culture, when you go to the Catholic culture, and you can do your research, the Catholics erased the reincarnation from their books. In the Hindu culture, reincarnation is a part of the process, but they created the how do you call it, the caste system, and they say, oh, someone is supreme and you're low, which is ridiculous. No one is supreme and no one is low. Yes, I noticed that when I have high frequency and I meet someone who sucks my energy, it drains me, right? But the question is, why do I attract that person? Okay, so that means I have to put and point the finger towards me and not towards someone else. And religion, sadly to say, is trying to control people, is sucking energy, is hiding knowledge. The Vatican is hiding knowledge big times. The Muslim people, they have the sacred religious war, which people kill themselves and they think it's a great thing to do. It's never a great thing to do to kill yourself for someone else. It's crazy. Like the Buddhism, we have it in Sri Lanka. Those Buddhist people are all male. They disapprove of females. In Thailand, the Buddhist male, they are not even allowed to touch women. The most amazing Buddhist culture I have experienced was in Vietnam. Oh my God, they're amazing. But I saw that those Buddhist monks actually coming from families because they didn't have money. So they're being obliged to the culture and religion of Buddhism that they became monks because they didn't have the money to be standing and being raised by their own family. So they're being obliged to the religion because they looked after them.
Yeah.
You have to dig deep. You have to understand what religion is all about.
Do you think starseeds are more intuitive than people who aren't?
Yeah, very psychic, yes. But a lot of starseeds are scared of showing them the true selves. They're scared of, I have sometimes the issues of being scared of my own power because it can be overwhelming. If two people come to you and you have never experienced love in your childhood, you got always abused, and all of a sudden, even if it's just one person who just loves you, no matter what, it just loves you just like that, and you don't have to do anything. Would you believe that person truly loves you and it's just there? No, you would not. You would say, hey, what's the hidden agenda? It's overwhelming. If someone truly loves you, it's overwhelming. It's scary. That's the programming they have put onto our earth, and religion is a negative programming of love. They put a Christ coming back to Jesus. They put Jesus on the cross and showing it to everyone, and people have in their house a cross with a bleeding human being. What the heck? That's screwed up. I mean, that means love for them means sacrificing. You need to sacrifice. You need to feel guilty. You need to be ashamed of yourself. You need to suffer. That's love for them. Love will never, ever ask you to sacrifice. Never, ever.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's true. So you think that the Earth was seeded?
The earth was?
Like seeded, like from intelligent beings seeded the Earth, or do you think that there are native Earth people still here?
As I said, I think all earthlings are still starseeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the first humans on Earth. Do you think that we just evolved from, I guess, apes or monkeys or whatever,
No,
or do you think
no,
that?
for sure. No,
Yeah.
definitely not. No.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I'm right there with you. All right. Well, what a fascinating conversation. We really appreciate you coming on. What a lot of information to take in.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe we'll have some, once all this kind of settles a little bit and we can all think about what we just learned from you, we'll have more questions and we can get you back on.
Yeah, sure, of course. I love to.
All right. So where can everybody find you? You have a YouTube channel, a web page. You want to tell
Oh,
everybody where they can find you?
yes. Thank you, Michael, for that opportunity you're giving me. Thank you. No, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to give me the opportunity to be seen and to be heard. Thank you for that. I have an English and a German YouTube channel. The German one is Aurena Agathe Fohler, and the English YouTube channel is Arcturus International. My webpage is aurenafohler.com, and my Instagram is Aurena's Insight. You can see all my globe trotting and experience going to cenotes, diving. I just have the new experiencing of diving. I just did a night dive. It was amazing. Michael, when someone tells you you will do something new, but it feels like home. Do you know that feeling?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I never dived in my life, and when I started diving, it was like coming home, and I've never done it. And then I understood the meaning of saying that, of the phrase.
Yeah, I bet that's a pretty good experience, diving at night. I haven't done that. I've done I've done diving when I was in St. Lucia. I did a little diving. I guess not really diving with a tank, but diving with a hose, and
Wow.
that was really neat. Just let everybody know all of the links to your stuff will be in the description box below. So
Yeah.
you can always just go down and all of the links to all of your stuff will be there. And
Hmm.
we definitely appreciate you coming on the show and thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like I
Thank
said,
you.
if people have questions and stuff, I'll encourage them to reach out to you because you definitely know what you're talking about, and it certainly is an interesting concept.
Yeah.
So, anything
I,
else you wanna give people advice, a word of advice before you go?
yes. Once I forgot to mention my Facebook Arcturian group. Any starseed is most welcome to join and to spread and share their knowledge. It's a teamwork, okay? And yes, my last message would be: remember who you are. Remember that we all come from one source. And you can be in duality trapped, or you can be in balance and harmony with yourself. So you're your own master, and just do the work, do the healing, go in nature and connect with nature, and treat everyone the way you want it to be treated. And never be scared of life. Always, I know it's not easy, and I have been there. I still go through challenges, but do the jump, trust yourself, trust that the universe catches you when you jump. Thank you.
All right, that's awesome, man. I hope everybody goes and checks out your website and some of your YouTube channels because it really is fascinating stuff. We'll be right back on Conflict Radio right after this. Welcome back to Conflict Radio. That was fascinating. I hope you were able to follow along and found that as interesting as I did. Remember, you can always find us online, www.conflictradio.net. You can also find us on YouTube. Just search the Conflict Radio Network. Search Conflict Radio on Apple iTunes, Spreaker, or all the normal podcast catchers. Until next time, batten down the hatches and be safe.